when you have a history of greatness, the real challenge starts after the finish line.
I can taste triumph with the heart of a lion.
When victory alone isn't enough, you chase something greater, no matter how difficult the path, on the dirt, in the sand, and beyond. The new 2024 Ridgeline Passport and Pilot, part of our most rugged trail sport lineup yet. From Honda.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Bayou Time. I'm your host, Keith Weissite, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it very, very much. And we're always glad to welcome in one of our representatives, State Representative Beryl Amedee, District 51. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, a pleasure to be here. I'm sorry I didn't hear you say favorite state representative, but that's okay.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, favorite state representative.
Yay. All right.
And then now I got to explain myself to the others.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them.
Okay, I won't. They won't watch. One of those things that we're always so very glad about is having you here, but being able to explain what happened in this last session, and this was our tax reform session, a lot of changes. And I'm glad you're here to kind of be able to kind of describe those. I think we want to first talk a little bit about those that have gone into law right away.
Sure. We did pass some that are already in effect and starting soon, and then we passed others that are contingent upon the constitutional amendment passing in March. So the ones that are already in effect are really fun, and I think they're great for the state. So first is the individual income tax changes.
Okay.
What we did was we flattened the rate, so it's a single rate, and we don't have the 3 different levels anymore, and we lowered the rate. So the flat rate will be 3%, and that will apply to any income that's earned starting on January 1st of 2025. So the taxes that you do this spring are going to be the current year, 2024. So you're not going to see that change yet. But starting January 1st, everything you earn will only be taxed at 3% flat rate. And we increased the standard deduction. This is for state now, we can't do federal at the state level.
I understand.
So we increased the standard deduction from $4,500 to $12,500 for singles and married filing separately. Wow. And we increased it from $9,000 to $25,000 for married filing jointly, head of household, qualifying surviving spouse. So those are significant increases. Anyone making less than that won't have state income tax.
Okay.
And for those that are 65 and up, we doubled the private pension and annuity income exemption from $6,000 to $12,000. So this will be great for individuals, and then for married, of course, each individual who's over 65 can also claim that if they both have pension and annuity income. So that's individual income tax.
Okay.
But there's more.
All right. Wait, there's more.
Yes, for business. The corporate tax changes are that the corporate rate will be flattened to 5.5%, and the standard deduction for tax year starting 2025 is going to be $20,000. And then we are repealing the franchise tax. It's kind of antiquated. We were an outlier. So we're just outright repealing it starting January of 2026. So that goes away in a year.
Right.
Yep.
So again, that was one of the things that was thrown in there that y'all said, no, we want to appeal that and check it out.
Yes, just get rid of it.
Okay.
It makes us more competitive with other states, because right now it kind of is a target or a sore thumb.
Right.
It's not something that many other states have.
Right.
And additionally, we have repealed or reduced certain credits and exemptions and the refundability of certain credits. So I'm going to recommend that business owners check with their tax advisors to see how this will affect them directly. Or maybe in the future, if you'd like to do a show, I can come back with a comprehensive list of all of those specific changes to tax credits and exemptions for business. I may not be the big business tax expert, but I can at least read you what the exemptions are that
and what
passed.
those changes are. And that way those people who are businessmen and women can look at that and go, okay, that applies to me. I need to find out.
Exactly. And then third, sales tax.
Okay.
So the state portion, now we have state sales tax and local sales tax.
Right.
The state portion of sales tax is currently 4.45.
Right.
Well, that's going to increase to 5% on January 1st. Yeah, that's my face too. Like, man.
No.
But
I mean, I'm just thinking that's low. I mean,
it's
low
really
increase.
a small amount.
It really is.
Most people won't notice it in their everyday shopping.
Right.
Maybe for the big dollar items, if you're buying vehicles or something, it'll be
Right.
more noticeable because it's less than half a penny. But it goes into effect on January 1st.
Right.
But the good news is that it goes back down a bit in 2030. It's going to go back down to 4.75%.
Oh, okay.
And then as the economy improves in Louisiana, our goal is to completely do away with individual income tax, bring it from 3% down to 0. And once we do that, as the economy continues to improve, we're hopeful that it will continue long time.
Right. Long-term improvement.
Yes, we will be able to reduce the sales tax rate also.
Oh.
But for now, this is a start. And this will bring Louisiana back into competitiveness, especially with our neighboring states here in the southern region. Right now, we're too close to the top of some bad list as far as businesses locating here, as far as
Right.
income tax goes. So this will really help. And also a change in sales tax that goes into effect on January 1st is that digital goods will be taxed. Currently, they're not taxed in
Right.
Louisiana. Digital goods means digital audio and audio-visual items, audio books, games, applications, periodicals,
Right.
information services, and access to certain software.
Okay.
So that will be new. It'll be at the same rate, that 5% rate. And we talked about this as the Blockbuster tax.
Right.
Blockbuster doesn't exist anymore.
Sure.
But all the streaming services now do. So
Right.
in Louisiana, those will be taxed at the same rate of sales tax as everything else.
Yeah, and it's just that makes sense because that's the avenue by which people receive a great deal of their information and entertainment. Great clarification. I appreciate that very much. But we're always glad that you join us, and so thank you for joining us here today.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment. We got a whole lot more right here on Bayou Time. Don't go anywhere.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.
Hello and welcome back to this edition of Bayou Time. Again, your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Terrebonne Home Care. Very glad you're joining us. However you may be joining us, we appreciate it. And always glad to have with us our favorite representative, State Representative Beryl Amedee of District 51. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right. I know that a lot of things have happened. We've had this session on tax reform, and a lot of things are going to go into place and have started right away. But some of those things are going to require a vote before we can get those moved past and move going forward. Let's talk about some of those that y'all have learned about.
Okay, sure. Now, on March 29th of 2025, there will be an election where voters will see 4 constitutional amendments. One of those has to do with the tax reform measures that were passed during the special session. The other 3 are not related to tax reform. They have other topics that we can talk about another time.
Right.
So the one constitutional amendment that relates to the tax reform session is simply a redraft of our current Article 7 of the state constitution.
Okay.
And that's the article that has become very lengthy over the years.
Right.
And it's the article of the Constitution that's most crucial to the way we do the budget in Louisiana. And so with the passage of the Article 7 rewrite by the voters in March, here's some of the things that will happen.
Okay.
We will be lowering the maximum rate allowed for individual income tax from 4.75 to 3.75. Now the legislation that passed has it set at a flat 3% starting in 2025. But this will be in the Constitution, and it's simply the maximum. It will say that we can't raise it any higher than 3.75 in the future.
Right, which is set at 3% at this time.
Currently, yes. So it will increase the income tax deduction for those 65 and over. So besides all of the improvements to individual income tax for our senior citizens that came out of the tax special session on tax reform, this will be an additional improvement. If this passes, it means that married couples who are both age 65 and up could end up with up to a $50,000 income tax exemption.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. And of course, individuals would be half that. It'd be $25,000.
25, right,
yes.
for each.
So our seniors could be looking pretty good here.
Yeah,
if this
no
passes.
kidding. Hey, saving seniors money is always a good idea.
Well, absolutely, because retired seniors really don't have the ability to increase their income.
No.
I mean, they'd have to go out and go back to work to do so. So when you're on a fixed income, all of this helps.
Right.
Another item, another portion of this would be to put the government growth limit into the Constitution. Now, we passed it in statute during the tax reform session, but this will actually put it in the Constitution so it sticks.
Okay.
Another will be that it provides for a permanent teacher salary increase, and it'll do this by making it a requirement that the state makes a surplus payment on the teacher retirement debt, which will mean that the school districts are relieved of that payment. But this will require them to use that surplus to provide for teacher pay raises.
And that's always a good idea, taking it away from having to do it through the district. Now it's made sure that it's guaranteed through the state.
Well, the state's guaranteeing that the district will do it.
Okay, the state's making sure the district's. I got you. Okay.
Because right now a school district is able to, they have the authority to give teachers a pay raise anytime they'd like, if it's within their budget to do so. There's nothing stopping them. But what we've seen over the last several years is a variety of the state requiring a teacher pay and funding a teacher pay raise, or the state giving a stipend, which is a temporary 1-year thing. Well, if this passes, what happens is the teachers get a pay raise of, I think it's $2,000 for teachers and $1,000 for support staff, and it's required that the parishes, the school districts, give this raise out of the surplus that they will have by not having to make that debt payment.
Right.
And there are some school districts that don't have enough of a debt payment to equal the teacher pay raise, and they will be helped. The state will help them to reach that level.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool.
Next, it protects the property tax exemptions that are currently in the Constitution, the homestead exemption, special assessments. By rewriting Article 7, we didn't intend to take those out, so we have to actually specify that they remain.
You have to put them in to make sure they're there.
So that's the general homestead exemption, and then the special assessments for disabled military and such, and for seniors to be able to make their assessment or lock in the rate of assessment, all those special assessments. Another is that it aligns state and local sales tax exemption rates for any new sales tax exemption that passes after January 1st of 2026. That way we are making our tax code less complicated by doing so. It will be required that any new exemption is going to be the same rate, state and local. And then last, the inventory tax.
Okay.
It makes the inventory tax local option. That means each parish will be required to decide whether they continue charging an inventory tax, whether they do away with it over a period of 3 years, or whether they do away with it instantly, like within a year. For the parishes that choose to do away with the inventory tax, the state will send extra money to offset that based on a formula of what they have been collecting in inventory tax. And that gives the parishes time to figure out how they're going to make the entities within the parish that rely on it whole again. The parishes will have until July of 2026 to decide which route they want to take.
And what avenue. Yep. Great clarification. It's always good to know what's coming up. We want people to get out and vote. Give us that date again.
That's March 29th of 2025.
And we have this 4 amendments to be, and one of these is about tax reform.
That's right.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Beryl. We appreciate your time as always and your clarification.
Sure. Anytime.
All right. Very good. All right, guys, that'll do it for this particular segment, but don't go anywhere. A lot more right here on Bayou Time.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.